Hey guys, welcome back to another YouTube video. Since the Hyrox season is well and truly upon us and I have some serious FOMO, I thought I would run you through some of my top tricks and tips. Tips and tricks? You get what I'm saying. I definitely took the whole Hyrox vibe and ran with it. I ended up doing, I think, 5 in the 24-25 season, and whilst I haven't got any booked in for the 25-26 season, we've got some other goals going on. Let's get into my first tip. So you will hear it time and time again. Hyrox is a running race. The weights are not heavy enough to have an impact. If you are a pretty standard gym goer, you're strong, you've got some strength, you've got some muscular endurance as well, which is also really important, you will be fine with the weights, the sleds, things like that. So they are not heavy enough to have as much of an impact. If you are really trying to knock off some time on your Hyrox times, whether it be a solo, a doubles, whatever, the runs will be where you can do this the best. As someone who has not come from a running background at all, it was really quite tough for me to get this into my head. I thought, I'm strong. Coming from a tennis and CrossFit background, I've definitely got some muscular endurance. I know I can keep up a steady pace for a very long time. However, 1k is not a long run, and even though it's 8 kilometers, it's in 1 kilometer stints, and trying to get that into my head was not, like I said, it was not easy. So if I could say anything, my first tip would be to make sure you are getting enough running hours in, because running only gets better, unfortunately, by doing it a lot. My next tip, and by no means are these in order, but my next tip would be to learn the proper techniques, especially on the ergs, the ski and the row. I definitely think having a correct technique is so beneficial. As a slightly shorter athlete, I need to maximise how much pull I'm getting into both the ski and the row. I try and make my body as long as I physically can. So when I'm in the row, I make sure my legs are fully extended, and then the pull is the last thing that I'm doing, and I'm basically holding a hollow hold at the back of the row and bringing that chain right into my chest. With the ski, I see so many people rushing. The way that the ergs work, they are both, the ski and the row are flywheel mechanisms. So your output is the speed at which the fan is moving, the flywheel is moving, and how fast you've moved it, so your acceleration. Now, the most beneficial and optimal way to use the ski and the row is to keep the fan moving at a constant pace. This way you're not having janky movements, you're not stopping and starting the fan, which I can see in a lot of people's technique when they think they're going really fast and they think they're moving really, trying to get as much power into the machine as possible. You're actually doing the opposite. Frantic movements, like I said, will stop and start the fan. Now, especially on the row, if you keep the chain as straight of a line as you physically can, more likely to accumulate meters faster, basically. So my final point on that is make yourself as long as possible, whether you're 6'5" or you're 5'2" like me. Just make yourself as long as possible, because you'll do less rows, you'll use less energy, and you're using the machine to its optimal level. Tip number 3 is less technique based, less actual training based, and more to do with the race. It's so important to remember this is your race. Whilst you're going against everyone that's in your sort of heat, in your pen, it's your race. From each race, I've clocked onto this more and more until my final race, which was in Malaga, and I actually took my watch off in the warm-up pen, and I decided that I wasn't gonna try and hit any paces, I wasn't gonna try and get a certain time on it. I was just doing it for the fun and for the love of it, and it was my most fun race. I took everything in, and Hyrox is such a good event, it's such a good environment that it was my favourite race. So my advice would be, make sure that you're not getting caught up in this whole, I need to beat the person that's in front of me, the person next to me. It's competitive, don't get me wrong. However, if you're in the starting pen and you go out as fast as the 10 people in front of you, and you're hitting a pace that you know you can't maintain, you're actually doing yourself a disservice, because you've gone out so fast, you've gotten so caught up in the excitement, like the adrenaline's high, like you want to keep up with these people, but you've not trained for that. You've not trained like them, and they might just be stronger runners. Whilst it's really good to have that competitive drive, I know for me, in my first singles, I blew out so fast in the first run, and I was tired going into the ski, which is, if you've ever done a Hyrox before, you know that going out on the ski hard is quite detrimental. That would just be my next tip, is to run your own race, do your own race, focus on what you're doing and hit the paces that you know you can hit and the paces you know you've trained for. It has suddenly just got so dark in here. Well, let's sort you right in. Right, my next tip, and I did learn this the hard way, check the board. Check the board on the runs. If you've not done a Hyrox before, then when you're going around the runs, or if you can get into the venue before, like a little bit early, then you'll notice that there is a big massive screen that when you run over a certain line on the running track, it comes up with your name, or your names if there's two of you. Look at the board. Don't run extra laps. It's not worth it. It's quite frankly the worst thing that you can do, because you add on extra time and you make yourself more tired for the rest of the race. So check the board. Just check the board. And if you've got a partner, stay with your bloody partner, because
let's go, keep pushing.
I learnt the hard way, let's just say that. Okay, I think we're on tip number 5 now. To chalk up wherever you can, wherever is available. Because as soon as you get onto the sled pull, the farmers carry especially, all Hyroxes are in big venues. They're in closed venues and it gets bloody hot in there. So you're sweating. You've run however many K, you've done however many stations, your heart rate is peaked for a long period of time, you're sweating. And when you sweat, hands get clammy. So my best advice would be chalk up as and when you can, even if you haven't trained with chalk on the pool. It's a different environment. You cannot replicate it in the gym, and I promise you, you will be thankful for it. Tip number 6 would be warm up before you start. 30 minutes before is a really good time, because you need to get your heart rate peaked so that it's not a shock when you go into that first run and they're playing Run Boy Run on the speakers and you're standing there and you're like, okay, I'm ready to go now, can we go? And they're playing the video in the tunnel and the timer's going down and the music's getting louder and you're like, oh god, I've trained for this for bloody ages and the time's finally here. Your heart rate will be peaking and you've not done anything yet. So my biggest advice is to warm up before you start. I know that sounds pretty obvious, but the amount of people that get caught up in walking around the stands, getting food, like toilet breaks, things like that, like you will queue for toilets, by the way. That's another point, is get there early enough that you can queue up and get your race number, you can check in, you can have a little walkabout, you can find the board, because we don't want to be running extra laps or losing our partners. My last point would be to enjoy it. Like I said, my favourite race was the one where I wasn't going for a time, and I know that that's really out of character for me because I am a competitive person, but I was able to take everything in. And if it's your first race, you might be going for a specific time, but you're not going to beat a time. I understand if you've done a few and you're like, okay, I want to knock a certain amount of times off, but it's such an incredible environment, and I do urge anyone to give it a go, even if you don't think you're the strongest runner, you will make it through. Hyrox is only as hard as you make it. Enjoy it. And you've paid a hell of a lot of money to do it, so enjoy it. I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you have, give it a thumbs up and a like, and please comment. Let me know what you want to see more of. And yeah, thank you very much for watching. I'll see you in the next one.